Hello, welcome to our overview for quarter two. For those of you who are just joining us for quarter two, welcome. For those of you who've already are doing the whole semester, you are halfway through if you've just finished quarter one. So that's a good milestone. Keep in mind, we have 3 units in this quarter. The first one is our GVC, which is Guaranteed Viable Curriculum. Those are the big important things that you need to know for this semester and for future math classes. So those are important things to know, and that's going to be solving quadratic equations with rational solutions. So then we're going to do solving equations with complex solutions, which we're going to talk about imaginary numbers, and then we'll have nonlinear functions. The first one is solving quadratic equations with rational solutions. Rational solutions means a real number. It could be a fraction, it could be a decimal, any of those things. Those are real numbers. And so we've got zero product property, factoring, and square root property. Then we'll take a quiz. Then we're going to do a couple of lessons on completing the square and have a quiz, and then the quadratic formula and have a quiz. Remember, in each unit, you need to pass with a 60% or better on your assignments, your quizzes, and your tests in order to move on in the class. So if you get stuck and you don't pass, that doesn't mean we quit and don't do math for a couple weeks. That means we get help. And I've given you lots of options to reach out to me through text, email, appointments. I've got help videos. You can request a video. So make sure you get help if you don't understand. Also, remember, there is going to be a reflection after each of the quizzes in a GVC unit, and you can turn in your notes for extra points. So take notes, keep in mind the things you don't understand, ask questions, and you'll be great. Unit 5 is solving quadratic equations with complex solutions. And we're going to learn about complex or imaginary numbers and find complex solutions, or zeros is another name for it, to a quadratic equation. And these are the lessons. We've got 3 quizzes in this unit as well. If we take a look, when we talk about complex or imaginary solutions, we have to first understand that what I is imaginary number, and that is equal to the square root of -1. Now we know we can't take the square root of a negative number. That's why it's imaginary number. But if we take a look at it, this is helpful in understanding when we have a quadratic equation that forms a parabola. And a solution is where we count the zeros which cross the x-axis. And if you'll notice right here, if it crosses 2 times, if it dips below, then there's 2 real solutions. If it just hits it once, there's 1 real solution. Well, what happens when it doesn't cross the x-axis at all and it's above that? What happens with that quadratic equation? Well, those are 2 imaginary solutions. And so you're going to get things like a -1, and I to the first is I squared. If you square a -1, you're going to get -1. I to the third is like the negative of I to the first, so negative I, and then I to the fourth. If you square -1, I squared, you're going to get 1, and then it repeats. I to the fifth would be back to I. So it's kind of fun. It's a new type of math. Same way you use problems and work with them, but using imaginary numbers. And then finally, we're going to do nonlinear functions. We're going to identify, graph, and transform nonlinear functions. There's different types of nonlinear functions. There's square root functions, linear piecewise, absolute value, exponential. And we're going to learn how those work and how they're translated and do on the graph. And there will be 3 quizzes in this unit as well. And then we're going to do a comparing function Desmos activity at the end. Whoops. Okay, just a reminder, in your Canvas course, at the beginning of each unit, there is a reference sheet that will give you the theorems, definitions, things, important things to remember. So make sure you're aware of that and use that. There's also guided notes. And if you use guided notes and print a copy of them, you can use them. And remember, you can use handwritten notes on your quizzes or tests. So whatever works best for you, but at the beginning of each unit, you will have all of the units of guided notes. So this is the wrong unit, but that's what it looks like. So with that, the key word for this overview is quadratic. And when you have finished, put the keyword in the submission box and you're good to go.